My initial research question was, does music bring peace or bring more hatred between different Catholics and Protestants? As I moved on with my research, I realized that this was going to look different in both Ireland and Scotland, and that music can have a very individual impact as well as a cultural and societal impact. So, as I came to Ireland and Scotland, the question I began to ask was, have you or anyone close to you been touched by music in a significant way? As I asked these questions, I found that the answers tended to fall in either a very individual answer or a cultural answer. I started by looking at some of those individual responses, how music can affect us on the individual basis.
I think for me, I study medicine, so I use music a lot to chill out, and when I don't want to do work, I'll just listen to some music to relax and things like that, because you find that it's sometimes an escape from the stresses of work and university.
Okay. Well, the music that I listen to is rock and metal music.
Okay.
So it actually has been a good thing in my life, because with that kind of music there's no sort of religious or cultural divide, if you know what I mean. You know, it wasn't what's your name and where's you're from when I was young, it was what's your name and what band do you like.
Yeah.
You know, so people didn't care where you were from or what part of Belfast you were from.
Are you from Belfast?
Yes, I'm from Belfast. I'm from Falls Road.
Okay.
So, you know, but I know people from all over Belfast and outside Belfast, and it's basically
like there's thousands of people walking down the street every day, and it takes like 20 seconds just to change somebody's life. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
People could be going through depression or suicide, or they could be having trouble at home or with friends, family, and stuff like that. And hearing that right song or the right note or whatever, just that can change somebody's whole perspective. That's what I believe.
Something I've kind of turned to whenever I've been stressed. It's like a stress buster.
I also think that playing for like a ceilidh, that people really enjoy themselves, and it just lets them kind of
Unwind.
sort of unwind and kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Kind of get away from just everyday life stresses, because you just go on the dance floor and just go for it, and it doesn't matter what anyone thinks of what you're doing.
Quite often it's easier to remember what we sing than what we hear. And some people say that singing is to pray twice. And it's a well-known fact that people that suffer from Alzheimer's can often recall songs from their childhood or from wartime when they perhaps can't remember the names of their beloved ones. And so these things that we sing often are ingrained in our brains quite deeply, and therefore we have to be cautious about the kind of things that we do sing in church.
A weekend called Walk to Emmaus, if you've ever heard of Walk to Emmaus. You know, and there's a men's weekend and a women's weekend, and you just go so deeply into feelings and community, and by the end of the weekend you're tired, and you all stand around and sing, and you just feel like you're all one person with your arms around each other, and you're tired and you're sweaty, and you just feel lost in that music and with each other.
Beyond individual responses, I began to see some responses that were more on a cultural basis. Music can define lots of cultural differences in sometimes a positive and sometimes a negative way.
More musical type of songs or more genuine sort of folk songs, there are a lot of, most of the Irish music has a lovely sadness to it, if it talks about things that happened, and that carries some weight, you know.
It will not be long, love, till our wedding day. She stepped away from me, and she moved through the fair, and fondly I watched her go here and go there. She went her way homeward with one star awake,
like if you were living in a little village somewhere, then everybody would go to the ceilidh because that was the social night out for everybody. So grandparents and babies and everybody in between would go. And also another part of a real ceilidh is people do a turn, as we call it. They do a little. So you might be a good singer, so you'll sing a song. And this old lady, she would maybe always tell the same story, and Uncle Jimmy, he will always sort of play the same tune on the fiddle, but people will do the things they are able to do.
I was able to see a huge amount of culture just by listening to some of the music. Things such as the fairy tale and folk tale songs sung in Dublin, and the ceilidh in Scotland. It's amazing how much you can see about a culture from the music. However, some of the things we saw in the culture were negative. There were some things in the songs that definitely focused on one group or another, and in a sectarian way that brought conflict.
There have been songs which have been like aggressive or high about one side or the other. Find both sides of the Irish conflict, songs, and they're not particularly good songs in the sense that they're just what we call commodities, but it really it emphasizes your side, it's really kind of a tribal song. So they aren't really particularly useful. I mean, there's not much in them except, we did this and you did that and we'll get back at you, that kind of thing.
I love old hymns that I grew up with, like other people were talking about today. I love the words in general. But then I get to a phrase that I go, gulp. And music can divide in other ways. If you've ever, you guys were in Northern Ireland, and if you think of the marching songs that the Protestants use to bait the Catholics and vice versa, songs can be very biting.
It can cause a divide because I used to see all the wee rockers sitting at the City Hall here, and then you get your wee bunches of, we call them spades. It's all the wee ravers, really. And sometimes there can be like clashes.
Oh yeah.
Because it's, look at you with your long hair, what do you think they're dressed like that for? And then slagging starts and then it gets serious. So it's not too bad, it's not too bad.
While these cultural songs can sometimes bring a great divide, they can also sometimes be used to form community and form a positive outlook on the way
people music interact. Has always been crucially important. It's really been a big part of the Corrymeela community. We've always, the people within the community have written music and used music, mostly music involved with peace or hope or reconciliation.
Apart from the exercise and the music which lifts the spirits, and what I think is an important factor is you're actually touching strangers, or they might not be strangers, but you're actually touching other people in a socially acceptable way. And if you think about it, there are very few times when you can do that, especially with strangers. And I think even just the human touch is awfully important. So the exercise, and just the camaraderie and the music, all of these things, that makes a lovely mix.
Not only can music begin to bring community, but it can also begin to bring peace within a community and between communities that have struggled in the past. This looks different in Ireland and Scotland, depending on where they are, but in Ireland, some of the peaceful music and music that is being used brings the start to conversations and peace between the Protestants and the Catholics. In Scotland, it can be used in communities, small and large.
He did a song called Peace Will Come. He did it for the Vietnam War. Very simple, but very direct song about how peace begins with me.
People can meet other people in a very happy, relaxed setting, and they are able to enjoy themselves.
Literally, poetry brings people in the same rhythm. It makes people kind of in tune with each other, at least for a small amount of time. I think music is a gateway. That music can kind of destroys boundaries a little bit.
Music is something which all cultures understand, but that doesn't mean it always is a good thing between cultures. I talked to people who said music had been incredibly powerful in their lives, sometimes for the good, but sometimes also for the bad. So part of what I am coming to understand is that music can always be used for the good. It's what we choose to do with it, which is true of a lot of things in life. But no matter what, music is significant, whether that is in your relationships with friends, whether that's in the relationship within your community, as we find that music can be super impactful for memory even and for worship. It looks different for everyone. But I came to find that the music we heard was different than anything I had heard before. The cultural music was. But that sometimes it helps to bring other cultures' music in, such in order to have a third party almost. My absolute favorite part of visiting Ireland and Scotland was getting to spend time in Dublin especially, listening to people singing and having fun with the music of the culture and of their history. It's a way to remember the past and to connect us to our parents and our grandparents. So I think what I found is that for me, music has had a huge impact, but I'm not alone. And I'm hoping to continue to hear and to listen to all sorts of cultural music that can help me understand the people and the places.
Last night I lay dreaming, my true love came in. So softly she came that her feet made no din. She lay down beside me, and this she did say: it will not be long, love, till our wedding day.
Music with words that can kind of inspire and take down injustices. I think music's great for that thing.
As I was going over with the fucking Kerry mouth, I met with Captain Bull and his money he was counting. I swore to use my pistol and then produce my rifle, sexton and deliver. Oh, you want a long receiver, what you do-dum-a-do-dum-a-da. I fall the daddy-o, I fall the daddy-o, there's no more. And I counted up my money and it made every penny. I put it in my pocket, I brought it home to Jenny. She sighed and she swore, she never would deceive me. But I never take that woman, she never was me easy. With your rum-a-doo-dum-a-da. I fall the daddy-o, I fall the daddy-o, that's the thing-o. And I went up to the chain, for to take the sum. I got the gold and jewels, for sure they don't want me. Jenny drew me charters and she threw them off the wall. She said, "Got them borrowed, be ready for the slaughter."